I think if the market or investors have been paying attention, this idea that negotiations have been ongoing was not borne out by any of the facts. So I think that's been a factor with which the market has had to deal, and why it's a bit of a guessing game at this point in terms of what the next steps are. You know, I agree with the notion that where we are right now mathematically is not a big hit to GDP. If you just look at the current tariffs, even add in the proposed tariffs and do the simple ratio of GDP, my concern is more on the second order effects, the effect on business confidence, because animal spirits has really been a big driver behind the pickup in capital spending and in turn hiring. And that to me is the factor to watch as we look ahead.
Brings to mind what Morgan Stanley CFO said this morning in a conference call, Jared. Some deals have been delayed over trade worries, but overall companies feel good, consumers feel good. Pockets of volatility seem to be isolated, not rolling over into the broader market. How long can that last?
Well, I think Liz Ann is exactly right on the macroeconomic effects. I mean, even if you expand the amount of imports that have tariffs on them, you're looking at a small fraction of the about 2.5 trillion in imports we buy every year from other countries. So if you actually look at the models on this, you're going to end up moving maybe prices up by a couple of basis points, and that's if this thing gets bad. But that abstracts from the sub-industries that are directly hit. So if you're in soybeans, if you're in washing machines, if you use a lot of steel in your inputs, washing machines is another good example there, then of course this is going to hit you in a way that's going to hurt your bottom line. And then again, yes, there is the uncertainty, but broadly speaking, I don't think the trade war is a big macroeconomic event unless it escalates in a way I can't foresee. That said, I take no solace in what Larry said. I liked a lot of what Larry Kudlow said this morning, but on trade, I came away feeling probably more nervous than when I started. I don't see a plan there, and it just looks like forthcoming escalation is going to deepen.
You know, and then there's these other side effects, Jared, which we're seeing happening before our face, the EU-Japanese trade deal. If I'm an American hog farmer selling into Japan, you've got to be worried right now that they're going to take European farm exports instead, now that the quotas and duties are being lowered in Japan on those European products. I mean, this is
not only are you're definitely correct about that. And in fact, if you go back to last week and look at soybean prices, what you see is a tanking of U.S. soybean prices and a commensurate increase in prices from Brazil. Who do we compete most with on selling soybeans into international markets? We're the two biggest players, U.S. and Brazil. So on that narrow measure, we're getting our butts kicked. And when I say we, I mean it's soybean farmers.
So I get the idea, Lizanne, that it's a small fraction of our economy thus far, but if there are bigger impacts on confidence and planning and competition, where's it showing up in the markets?
Well, you're already seeing it to some degree. You're seeing it in some survey-based data. If you look at the Empire Manufacturing Survey, you have seen a rolling over on a 6-month rolling basis in both CapEx spending plans as well as tech spending plans. I don't know if we can definitively say it's a trend, but we're at the stage now where it is starting to get real. Companies have to be beholden and should be beholden to their various constituents, whether it's shareholders, employees, and to the extent you call it a constituent, profit margin. So decisions need to be made in the near term, even if, as, say, head of a company, you believe that ultimately these are negotiating tactics and this is a bit of a game of chicken. And even if you believe we're ultimately going to win, the near-term decisions have to be made for those constituents. And given that the tariffs are in place, now I think we're at the point in time where whether you listen to company conference calls during this earnings season or look in transcripts, we're going to start to see the actual impact of this.
Hey there, thanks for checking out CNBC on YouTube. Be sure to subscribe to stay up to date on all of the day's biggest stories. You can also click on any of the videos around me to watch the latest from CNBC. Thanks for watching.